So he's right here. Let's watch. This is an easy one. Just in terms of his acceleration off of the ball, you could see he's clearly selling the drive phase with his shoulder down, and he's a guy who, if he could just make the DB just widen slightly and attack that blind spot as he does, and he just gets that DB to hesitate, where you could see he's not in a full shuffle. He's in a shuffle, but we clearly know that he's not working as hard vertically as he possibly could be because Mecole Hardman is stemming him to the outside on that inside break on that skinny post. And again, you don't need much here. Attack the blind spot and cross his vertical plane, and Hardman's able to do that on that play relatively easily because he's just so damn fast. And yeah, the ball doesn't go to Hardman right, but okay, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, let's say he were to get to this read, is this NFL open? Can Mecole Hardman maintain the separation? Hell yes, he can. So an easy first play where we're showing off. Okay, you better be careful with him deep because there's going to be a player too. And he's almost like the obviously they're different, but he's a good comparison to like what Izzy's going to provide the offense, where 1, 2, 3 plays in a row might be a little bit frustrating, and then he has a 60-yard bomb or the 60-yard screen pass taken for a touchdown. So he's going to be boom or bust type of player, and that's okay. That's okay. So let's keep moving on. Top of the screen right here, Hardman rounded break. All right. And you're going to see that sometime. And say like even that one, I was going to say prior to the play that, if he is going to go 100% because he's so damn fast, he could afford himself some rounded breaks. And you're going to have some rounded breaks when you're carrying more speed, more momentum into a break. Yes, it tends to be more rounded, but I wanted to see that more rounded break with this play. Again, I recorded this quite a while ago, so I have to watch it and break it down as I'm watching. And I know some people get, they don't like the consistent rewinds, but at a certain point, I have to watch it to break it down as well. None of this stuff is scripted. I get it though. But with this Hardman play, the thing I want to see about that, the thing about that rounded break that I would want to see more of is the drive phase. We could see the last play he came off the ball, with his shoulders down. You could tell he was really really putting a lot into the stem to stem the corner outside to get deep. He's definitely not running full speed right there. And then he doesn't carry much explosion into the break. So we want to see a few things here. Again, we want to see the drive phase to run that corner off a little bit more. You could see his shoulders come up before the break. And then in terms of the break, he breaks off the inside foot, right? We never want to break off that inside foot. So he breaks off the inside foot, which tips off the corner. That he's obviously breaking to the inside, and it's a very slow and rounded break. Not much commitment to that break step right there. So we have break off the inside foot just a little bit, or actually quite a bit. And then even that, the actual break step off the outside foot is something we want to see him lower himself into, get over a little bit more, and explode through said break, because he starts his break really, let's say at the 42-yard line, and he takes it all the way to the 31. And there are some routes that call for really rounded breaks in the NFL. And even if that did, because there are some instances where they do that, where you're trying to get to a point, but it's still very rounded and it lacks much explosion. So we want to see more consistency there from Hardman. Hardman here, footsteps. Yeah, this is something you definitely don't want him going over the middle on like a slant or a dig or a crossing route where he thinks that somebody's going to be hitting him, because he alligator arms balls quite a bit if he thinks that something's going to be there. He's going to get hit, or he doesn't really attack the ball. And we see the play action when we see Hardman come from the right side of your screen, just a deep sit, deep curl. And when he does that, he is tracking the ball, but we want to see him attack this better. Do you see how he doesn't really attack the ball? He lets the ball kind of hit his, not it's not like you don't want the ball to hit your hands, but you want to attack it. You want to get your body behind it. You want to extend towards it. And we could see him alligator arm that a little bit and try to pull the ball in before it's secured wide, because he's going to take a hit. So we want to see him be a little bit more decisive, not decisive there, but sometimes you're going to take hits, and there we could see that he knows that corner's coming and he does not want to take that hit. He takes a hit regardless. And that's kind of what you hear people saying. It's much, much, much easier said than done, but you're going to get hit anyway. So just catch the ball, but nonetheless, slot right here to the top of your screen. Yeah, I like that release from him, especially with guys who are like really fast. But you see how aggressively he pumps his arms right there, with that foot fire. So he uses the that split release. So split release, he gets on the DB's toes with foot fire, really aggressive arm pumps, which again just screws up the timing, just shows the DB that he's really doing more than he is while eating up that ground. And allowing Hardman to read what he's facing in terms of coverage. And he's facing soft press. The guy's on his heels, so he's just going to take the inside that he affords him, take it slightly vertical. Again, why? Why do we take it slightly vertical? So he doesn't just get on his hip and match him horizontally. If you take it vertically, and Hardman's so fast that he's gonna have to get on his horse to match him. It makes it really hard for him to match that break because he's gonna be running full speed. Hardman can run 90, 95, and that's gonna take all 100% of that guy of the corner to match that. So it's a good job taking it vertical and breaking across the field again. Because if he just started to bend it inside right now, he's on his hip. And he wouldn't, and he would be much, closer to that break, and he'd be able to feel that break. So it's a good job by Hardman with that release. I like the aggression. I like the idea of the foot fire to get on the toes, but allowing him also to cut on the cut of a dime because his feet are controlled and under him. Hardman low through hole, vision, speed, acceleration. Okay, I'm assuming this is gonna be some type of jet sweeper. Yeah, we have a jet sweep. This is what we're going to see him doing with the jet. I'm not just and he kind of took some what's the word? He got a little bit offended, I think, when Adam Schefter or whoever it was said like, "Oh, the Jets got their jet sweep guys." Like, I'm more than a jet sweep guy. Yeah, no, he is. Like, he's a vertical threat too. But this is the main thing he's going to offer the Jets. So, takes the handoff. Okay, reads 52 is expanding. So he's going to take it inside of 52. Gets low in that contact window where he feels like he's about to get contacted and he has to change directions quickly. So it's a good job just staying in control through the hole, being patient. As he takes it vertically, his peripheral vision, obviously he sees 20 right there, which the 62, which I think is tuned. He gets a good job of getting a hand on him, but he sees him, explodes laterally away from him. And then we're seeing him run through some arm tackle. So he actually has some like decent power to his game. And part of it, it's just that he's running so damn fast. Even it's just hard to contain him. Like, even if you slow him down a little bit, he just carries so much momentum into arm tackles that sometimes they just brush off of. I don't think he's an overly powerful player necessarily, but his speed and his acceleration through contact really benefits him. So it's a good job just reading it, again, staying patient, getting low through the hole to maintain his balance, but also allowing him to break, on the cut of a dime, reading where guys are coming from, and then exploding to get, to get some more yardage. So Hardman split release, even ends. Okay. Even ends. So we have him to the bottom, I believe. Yeah, I don't know what I mean by even. Oh, insteps. Yeah, maybe. So split release, bringing that front foot back and the other foot even to it. So we have a split, quick foot fire. Really not much to it, but that foot fire and that just stab inside gets the corner to what? Get on his heels a little bit and angle off to the outside, and just him angling off to the outside. Like that, it's going to be hard for him to match, to match Hardman. And it's the part of like, okay, yeah, Hardman's a guy who's not the most physical player. And if you can get hands on him at the line of scrimmage, great. But if you don't, watch out, So with the split release, slight foot fire, stab inside, and then he breaks vertically. And again, for Hardman, if he's even, he's leaving. And at this point, if Mahomes was to look at him and lead him vertically, he's beating that corner. If Mahomes obviously targets him, but he doesn't. But still, it's an instance where, okay, he wins. Process versus results. The result is it's incompletion or whatever. I don't know if the result of the play wasn't targeted, not a good play. Obviously, that's not true, right? So Hardman jump cut speed. Okay, we're seeing some type of end around again or jet sweep. Yeah. So this is just again speed. We like the fact that he alters his track right there. He clearly notices that 52 is penetrating into the backfield, so he doesn't want to stay at his angle. He loses some ground right there on purpose to avoid him, which is good. Takes it to the outside. Okay, 44 is working to the outside. They cut me off. Just stops himself a little bit. Jump cuts to the inside. He tries to throw like a chop or a wipe right there. Doesn't necessarily land, but that speed takes him through that arm tackle again from, I think 44 is Kenneth Murray, right? But it's a good job. It's a good job flattening out. It's a good job throwing in the brakes and being able to jump cut through that arm tackle. and he picks up another 5, 6, 7 yards because of it. Hardman, speed through tackle, TD. Okay. So we're seeing that being a trend. We're going to see another jet sweep, most likely here with Hardman in motion right there, pre-snap, pop pass. Again, just speed, just pure speed. And a lot of guys with Hardman are going to widen out, and it's going to afford him a lot of cutback because people are so afraid of him getting to the sideline that they're going to over pursue a little bit, because you have to respect that speed. And where do you not want to get beat? You don't want to get beat to the sideline, so he's going to have a good opportunity to cut back inside, and that's what he does here. Again, reads the defense widening, specifically that defensive end, cuts inside of that. Another little side note that I do like is that when he's going through the hole, when he's going through that hole, when he's expecting contact, what do we see? 2 hands on the ball for the time being. Again, carrying a lot of acceleration through that contact, and he breaks through 2 arm tackles, reaches out, gets it to touchdown. Let's watch it again, but it's a good play. This is something like Barrios. Barrios would if he was drawing up the perfect play, he can walk in for a touchdown, he would do that stuff, but he wasn't really a guy to like break a ton of tackles and take really good angles. There's over the last 3 or 4 years he's with the Jets, there's a few plays I can remember, but it wasn't an impressive quantity of good plays from him in terms of the jet sweeps and stuff. So Hardman eyes drift into breaks and upfield drop. Okay. So we have Hardman, I believe, right here in the inside slot to the bottom of your screen, following the cursor. Yeah. This is something like, so he's facing off coverage. And it's, rounded breaks and speed cuts to the inside are okay, but we don't want to. There's a few things. We don't want to start our break off of our inside foot, right? Because he starts to lean to the inside, and we can see that I think it's Poyer. Yeah, Poyer reacts to him starting to break inside. Like, he breaks now, but we can see Poyer's already tipped off to it, because one, he's drifting into it and his eyes are going to the inside. So he tips it off with his eyes. He drifts into the break where you want him to flatten it out just to stay away from the defensive back. There is times where you want to drift into a little bit, and it's okay, but it's more when the guy's outside leverage and you're trying to outrun him horizontally. But when he has that inside relationship to you, you want to break a little bit more flat, because you want to take advantage of the vertical separation there. So you don't want to drift into where you're catching the ball. He tips off the break, drifts into said break, and then it drops the ball. Now let's see the catch point. Yeah, it's he contacts him after. This is something you obviously want to see him, ideally catch this, and it is a hard spot because it's in front of him. Ideally, you want to see him go over him there and attack the ball, but even underhand, it is what it is. But it's a little bit more fingertips than you necessarily want, but it's a ball that's in his hands, right? Like, I am not that dude to be like, oh, if it touches your fingers, you have to catch it. That's bullshit. But when you start talking about like hitting like like your palm or the beginnings of your fingers, that's a ball you should catch, especially with the gloves today. So we want to see him catch that, but we understand he's not the best contested catch guy, right? Like, that's not what I'm expecting of him, but we don't want to see him tip off the break like he does, and we don't want to see him drift into that catch point. Hardman, feel for zone. Okay. He is in the slot right here, to the top of your screen. Yeah. So, he's running a dig he's running a dig over the middle right there. And you have Mahomes, who gets to the front side of his read. After his front side of his read, he doesn't see anything that he necessarily wants on that spot concept, which isn't really the best run spot concept, just because these guys are kind of congested, but we're not going to really talk about that. And that's some of the times, like, Kelsey's afforded a lot in the offense in terms of flexibility and doing what he wants to do, but you're flattening the read right there. Nonetheless, Mahomes comes off that side, doesn't see anything he wants, and he sees, okay, the linebacker sitting right here. He sees this linebacker. He sees this hole in the middle of the defense, and he expects Hardman to drift into that hole, but Hardman cuts it a little bit shorter than he should, because this is a pretty big gap, and he sits it down a little bit too close to the linebacker. You have Mahomes, who expects him to be at a certain spot, and you have Hardman, who just sits it down a little bit too tight. Better feel for zone. He gets in the middle of those guys, splits them, makes it really easy for the quarterback, and Hardman does not do that there. And they're a little bit off. So, and people say, oh, it's a miss by Mahomes. Okay, and obviously it's a miscommunication, but we want to see him drift into a better spot. Like people, I think that's something that people will put about some receivers, like, oh, they really have a good feel for a zone and stuff like that. And I feel like people kind of say that without really understanding what they're talking about. But you can also have people don't have a good feel from zone. And there's examples like that in Hardman's film. So a Hardman drop. Okay. This is going to be an easy one because it's right across the middle on that drag. But again, just a situation where he knows that that defender's there, and we can see him not really kind of attack that ball, and we see him. You almost you really treat it like a baby. Like you really want to get under it. You want to catch it like a punt if you can, get your whole body behind it. Attack that ball, all great. But what we kind of see Hardman, like he almost drifts away from his catches sometimes. Like he doesn't attack it. You see him like sit it down. And do I think that he knows that that linebacker's there? I do. It's a part of him feeling footsteps, but in general, even at times where there's not guys going to hit him, he catches the ball like that, where he kind of extends to it, but he sits his body back. So he's not really running through the catch point, which you want to see. Elijah Moore is really, really good at running through the catch point. Something Hardman doesn't have the same ability to. And again, I think part of that here is that the linebacker's there. He doesn't want to get hit. So that's a problem over the middle, right? With somebody who doesn't necessarily want to get hit. But it is what it is. Hardman 3-step double. And you could see how he like drifts away from the catch. And that's a good catch. It's a good catch because this one's different. Because the good thing about extending to the ball here is if you have that leverage